seconds, and we're going to start with a presentation that I have prepared talking about artificial intelligence. We'll go through kind of what we did in the classroom, but there'll be more actionable steps that you'll be able to take over time utilizing AI, but actually learning why it's important to do and how, if you're not embracing it and using it, what'll end up happening is you'll be falling behind from other agents that are using it. Now, there's a lot of big systems out there. Realtor.com has grabbed onto this. And of course, Zillow, whether you love them or hate them, they're also using AI in their business. But for us, as that local niche, I'll give you some tips and tricks on why it's really important for us to bring it to the forefront and use it. In addition, I'm always available by schedule, of course. But if you need further things explained or want to talk about other things that involve artificial intelligence, I really offer myself to it because it just helps me in the end as well, plus helps you learn how the systems actually function. So what, if you haven't done it yet, I have a free offering that I'm going to be offering later this week at santaclaritaai.com. It's my community. It's private, doesn't cost anything, and it's just between me and whomever subscribes, and I do dump in a lot of AI tips there. Also, if you turn on you'll be able to see the chat. You'll be able to throw out. And if you have any questions or anything during the presentation, you'll be able to put them in, and then I'll see it. So Santa.com. So it's SantaClaritaAI.com. That particular system, we have a few more people joining, but that particular system, it's a community, kind of like Facebook, just not as fancy, but it's where I will communicate with people that have questions regarding anything artificial intelligence and the best way to indoctrinate it into their business. Now, just a quick beginning here as we get some more people that join, understanding that AI is like that baby tiger cub you buy. They're soft, they're beautiful. You know, you want to take care of it. We only hope that that baby tiger cub isn't going to grow up to a level wanting to eat us. And with AI, some people are going into it scared to death. Some people are going into it, embracing it and running forward all the way. But we have created something that's different than anything else in the past. The past generations have built the agricultural revolution was based somewhat on intelligence, right? The industrial revolution, again, that was based on intelligence and machinery. And if you look at any of the history regarding when horses went to horseless carriages, that created quite a mess. When the agricultural revolution went from, excuse me, went from when the agricultural revolution went from going to, people actually plowing by hand to mechanizing and making agriculture and food on a massive basis. Again, that was quite a problem in the world at that time. Then radio moving to television, nobody thought that was going to stick. When the internet first came out, people thought, what good is it? But here we are, and now artificial intelligence, the 50s, moving forward to where we are today, it's really smarter than most people on the planet. And as it becomes more advanced, it's now self-taught, it's self-learning, it's creating its own information, and so it's its own data to learn from, but it already has our playbook. It picked up all of our stuff from all the data that was fed into it on social media, where, of course, as human beings, we are definitely not our best. In fact, in social media, that's just a horrible place to learn about human beings. But again, it picked that up, and that's where it is. That data that it has, it, of course, is using against us. We're not going to be doing that to our clients, but we are going to be able to pay attention at that same level using AI. So that's where it's important for us to start to adopt it. We can generate a lot of information that people want to hear about regarding real estate in our businesses by utilizing AI. So we'll talk about the best ways to start that process. This is going to be a class that I'll put on every Monday at the same time at 10 o'clock. We'll do about 40 minutes of artificial intelligence, which is more than a lot of people need. And then after that, I'll give you some homework, things that you can practice. And then next class, we'll be able to talk about any issues that you had during our Q&A. And of course, meanwhile, if you haven't yet, santaclaritaai.com pitfalls.com is the community. You can go there and just get an account. It's free. It's only me. I'm the only one that has access to it. And I'll be dropping tips every day in that particular group. And you can interact and ask questions. And if there's something you've run into, want to know more information about, if you've seen something online, people talking about a better way, or if you feel like you're getting conned by somebody that says they have some kind of an AI system that they want to sell to you, we can vet that together because a lot of that is crap. A lot of the systems out there that people are offering, it's just like the beginning of the internet. And I've been in real estate since 98. When I first started, websites were, oh my God, you had to have a website. And today we'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's more important than ever. But back then, people that were building them were charging thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to put them together. You couldn't find an inexpensive website pretty much anywhere. Now, dime a dozen. In fact, in some cases, they're free. So you can get this internet exposure very, very simply. And I'll go around the room in just a second. But if you don't have a website today, if you're utilizing the company's website, it would be important that potentially you get something of your own, and I'll show you how to do that. But you need something that you can share. So when we get into it, when we start talking about how we're going to use AI to make a social media post using MLS related data, then being able to take that social media post that's put together for you and have it go somewhere, not just where you are online, a Facebook group that you happen to have, or a business page, or Instagram, or your TikTok, or your YouTube channel, but actually having it go to a place online that has a way for people to contact you more readily, where your phone number is, your website, contact page, these sorts of things. Now, if you haven't done it yet, open up the chat. Make sure you have access to that because I'll be fielding questions through there, and I might also have requests on there as well. This class is going to be every Monday. This is very much the introductory class. I think we have quite a few now, so I don't know if anybody else is going to be joining. But we'll get into the process. If you're joining now, you haven't missed anything. It's just me rambling on about where AI was back in the 50s and where it is today. And back in 2022, when ChatGPT was unleashed to the world, we've seen a few different renditions of it, and it's only getting better. And today is the worst that AI will ever be. It's constantly improving. And they're not really saying it, but I have a feeling that it's gone more automatic, autonomic, and it's improving because it's going faster and faster and getting better and better. It's trained off, like I mentioned a little while ago, human data. So it sees all, it knows our playbook. Human beings, if you believe we have a soul and God and a creator, that's fine. Please do that. I believe that as well. But we're very easily tricked and manipulated. And AI is very good at doing that. And the biggest businesses in the world, and you probably see them in your social media streams because your social media streams know your real estate agent. So now you're getting all of these pop-ups and all of these different links showing you or asking you if you want leads. You know, we run a ghost team. We can generate leads for you. We can do this and do that. That's all stuff that you can do yourself, and it requires very little experience and very little training. In fact, one of the things we'll talk about is utilizing these large language models to to learn how to do these things. And it was back in the day, agents would just go pay somebody to do something for them, but there's so much misleading and there's so much smoke and mirrors out there. It's hard to find anybody that's truly being upfront about what they're offering with regard to getting people leads. Zillow is one of the ones that sells a lot of leads that they generate using AI. With that, let's start this presentation here. So I will share my screen. When you're ready, you can ask any questions in the chat. I have access to it. You can also raise your hand. I'm a sole moderator here, so I don't have anybody else moderating this. So feel free to ask any questions, and I'll get to those as we move through the conversation here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. Okay, so in artificial intelligence, like I mentioned earlier, it's like having that tiger cub, right? It's like it's in its maybe early teen years, maybe just a little bit for maybe preteen as far as artificial intelligence is and the way that it is currently acting. Now, there aren't very many safety protocols that have been built around it. That's the other thing that kind of gives me a little bit of pause in the world, but nobody's going to slow down the continuation of the improvement of AI. Well, improvement. The more smart that AI continues to be, they're not going to slow that down. And they're not going to slow it down for the simple reason that they say if we slow down, then maybe their government power will get AI moving into the artificial general intelligence and their super intelligence. The thing is that some of the disruptors out there that are talking about the negative sides of AI talk about is they talk about we would rather have them just create artificial intelligence that they do more specific things. Maybe one that's going to look at cancer and fix that whole problem. That's all that particular AI does. That particular agent just looks at cancer, or that agent trained with 1,000 other agents that all have PhD level degrees in all the best medicine in the world. Maybe that should be that. But unfortunately, the way that it's being put together, maybe fortunately, they're going to have a system that's going to be general and intelligence for everything. How does that impact us as real estate agents? Well, it does make our workflow a lot simpler. If you are a poster, the best way to get in front of people is by posting content online. That's the best way. Interactive content, asking questions, doing polls, creating surveys. These things are the new price of admission to be very well known in the real estate spaces. You probably see it. People put up particular content. They'll go get pictures. They'll record themselves at an open house. There's ways to make those videos better. So if you're doing just a simple YouTube video and you just put that out on YouTube and don't pay attention to the title or the description or the hashtags or the way that you have the thumbnail designed, and you just don't do any of that, then of course it's going to get traction. AI will fix all of those things and we'll walk through the best way to do that. AI will save you time, but the problem with it, at least right now, is the learning it. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to teach you so you can do this on your own. Or if somebody tries to sell you some nonsense, you can identify it as nonsense. Until I switched my number over to an AI voice, I was getting calls every hour at least by people that were trying to sell me leads. And they always open with the same thing, as you very well know. Are you an agent still in Santa? And they always screw up the second part. They either say Santa Clara or they mess it up somehow. And of course, they're just trying to sell you information that they've gathered online using their AI systems. And what's cool about us as real estate agents, and I'll go into this in further trainings, but we have access to the MLS data. We have it all in one place. We can go and pull the last 30 days of sold properties in Saugus. And then we can have, using the right prompt, the right question to ask GPT or whatever large language model you're using, we're able to take that data and plug it in there and ask it for all sorts of things. And as soon as it identifies the various fields from the MLS sheets, it's going to give you a lot of information that you can post online very simply without getting yourselves into trouble. Using addresses of active properties without disclaimers and the proper protocols probably get us into trouble. But if you want to capture a neighborhood or talk about the 3 bedrooms that happen to be listed for sale, what their price per square foot is, what their square footage is, what it means between half a bathroom, 3/4 bathroom, and a full bathroom, how to extract those properties, you can have AI really put these things together in the most beautiful way. I'll give a disclaimer. Make sure that you always read what it puts out before you post it. After a while, whichever AI you're using, it's going to start to know you. Right now, ChatGPT knows me as being a retired LAPD without the pension, but having retired. So I have the CCW, so I have that. AI knows me on that level. It knows me as being a real estate agent since 1998, and it knows some of my history. That's because it's interacted with me long enough since the debut. One of the big tips I'll give you is go to Google Docs and start writing a bio about yourself. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just write down the information about you with as much detail as you want. Because what's going to happen is you'll use that in the large language model and it will build credibility. It will build your voice. It will build the data based on who you are so you don't look vanilla or look like everybody else out there in the world. That'll be something important to do. All right, so now we're looking at the artificial intelligence. This is slide one, and we'll move into the second one. Of course, I'm Connor MacIvor. I've been in real estate since 1998, and I've been working with buyers and sellers at that time. I started in the AI space programming when I was just a kid, and basically 14, 15 back in the early 80s, and now here I am moving into this. After playing in the comp world, I find that a lot of people are being misled. It started with the websites, people not getting good information, and people being misled about AI now is the newest thing. And of course, it's low-hanging fruit. All of us want to get leads. All of us want to get more clients. The best ways to do that is going to be just going forth, knowing what you're looking at when somebody's offering something, but then realizing that you can do all this yourself. All right, so the next part, artificial intelligence is now starting to teach itself. It's changing its code, it's changing how it's formatted, it's starting to self improve. Once it gets a little bit more, and this could be by the end of the year, we're going to see this take off. And I'm not sure what kind of displacement or tragedy or benefit it's going to cause the world. Nobody can really see what's going to end up happening. But while we are where we are, if we're not using it to help get us more content and do better research, then typically agents that are going to replace us. So that's where it's important to start learning these systems. Now, if you've heard of ChatGPT, if you've heard of Grok, if you've heard of Microsoft Copilot, there's Claude as well by Anthropic, Meta, Facebook has their own AI. Start playing with one if you haven't. Start looking at it. Start using it, asking it questions. Now, is AI going to replace human to human relationships? Well, I don't know if that's for me to talk about, but it does seem to know everything you are and everything you like, and it will start speaking to you as if it's a human being. So don't go down that road. Always honor that human to human connection. Be careful because it's very convincing of who it is. If you start to ask it more philosophy type questions or God oriented questions, it might pull you off your center. Make sure you have your center before you start getting too involved with it. I think us as a world, and this isn't a religious show at all, but we're very easily modified as human beings, where we kind of get taken off track occasionally. So if you don't want that to happen, make sure that you have whatever center yours is. If it's centered in some religion, great. If it's centered in your human connections, great. But when you're starting to interact with AI, you'll see that it's going to start to know you. It's going to start to develop the voice that you like the best. That's the same with the social media channels. You notice that you get on there and hours go by and you don't know where the time went. You just you just get stuck in that stream swiping, and then you're going to be seeing other people, what they posted, other real estate agents, and then you got that other issue that comes in, irritated that they're doing all this and you seem not to have any business. A lot of that show, I think you know. In some cases it might not be, but you have to be for yourself, and utilizing AI might help bridge that gap between where you are currently and being better. So the features of Los Angeles Police Department, the features of the AI happen to be it's able to reason and understand. It has access to all the world data. So when you're asking it questions pertaining to real estate, it's going to give you some very qualified answers. But the asking the question is what's going to be important. You're going to want to prompt it in the best way. The ones that I talked about, ChatGPT, Google's Gemini is somewhat of a sleeper, but if somebody were to ask me which one's going to win at the end of the day, I think that Gemini with ChatGPT, excuse me, Gemini with Google might pull it off. You have Musk and Altman going at it on social media, talking about all sorts of crap that really has nothing to do with them developing the best AI model. Google's always been great. They have all that data, right? Because they were running Google search for a long time. Google pay-per-click was very, very popular, but now people aren't really searching on Google anymore. They're using one of their large language models to search for things, and that includes you. So if you were one that understands SEO and how to write a blog post, for example, or even a social media post to get a lot of traction because it's search engine optimized. It has a particular title, it has particular hashtags, the linking is done properly within it, so you knew everything about it. Now that whole game has changed. People aren't searching that way anymore. People are searching more from an answer engine optimized platform. So it was SEO, which is search engine optimization. Now with AI, that's somewhat changed and been modified to answer engine optimization. What do I mean? It's like a conversation. If Andrew, for example, has a question about what's happening in the AI world and how he would best search in Valencia, I would give him that answer, but what I would want to post would be more like a back and forth between me and a client. I had a seller ask me a question the other day about Valencia. They wanted to know how fast it was taking for four-bedroom houses to sell. And I said, well, how big is your house? So that's that conversation. So when AI is giving the report, it's no longer qualified by money like a Google pay-per-click campaign because that's gone away. AI is now scraping the internet for data. And right now, we're right at kind of the beginning of this. Right now, it's not being monetized. There's no ads on your social media as of yet. The information it's giving you is without payment. The information it's giving you is based on however the model was trained and however it's qualifying the information, but it qualifies it because the information's answering a question. So you can punch into your chat GPT or whichever model you use, what are the top 10 questions that real estate buyers have in 2025 in Santa Clarita Valley? And then you can make it even more pronounced and more focused. What are the top 10 real estate questions that home buyers have buying a single family residence with at least four bedrooms in Valencia, California, in the Northridge area? It will go online, it will research and scrape all of that information, and it will bring it back to you. And it'll probably take a minute or less. From that information, you can then ask it, give me the best social media post that I can put together that carries this data with it. I like emojis and hashtags. Or if you don't even know to say that, just see what it produces. But hashtags and emojis on most platforms are very helpful. They do help people, and then you copy and paste that. After you've read it and proofed it, you copy and paste it into one of the social media channels wherever you have it outfitted. Now, you can make a specific request. It doesn't have to be just a vague and ambiguous social media post. It can be specifically for Facebook, for a Facebook group, for a Facebook business page that you have. It can be specifically for Instagram or X or Twitter. It can be specifically for TikTok if you happen to have a video to go with it. A lot of the systems are make easy to make videos. You can go text a video. You can put all these things together, and very simply, you can have immediate content. After you post it, though, or prior to posting it, you need to have somewhere for somebody to go. You should always have some kind of a link to a property that you own. And I would suggest it not be, and we'll talk about this in future shows, but I would suggest that link not be to a property that's owned by another social media company. If you're Andrew Say and you have andrewsay.com or andrewsayrealestate.com, that's the property. ShermanRealEstate.com, whatever it may be, you need your own property. If even if you just have that domain name, it's $11, it's $12.17 to buy one all in from GoDaddy. Get yourself a domain name if you don't have it yet. That's going to prove to be very important because that's going to be the property you share. You can take that domain name, you can plug it into all sorts of different, you can make a website funnel, websites. These are all things you can do, and I'll teach you throughout these courses. With the CRM tools, if you, I know that Realty One Group, if you're with them watching this, you might be from another company. Realty One Group has a CRM that's available. That's the contact or client relationship management software. The more advanced this stuff is, probably the better for you. But that system, if you have a database, I would definitely pull it off of cocktail napkins and 3x5 index cards and post-it notes and start to put it somewhere. And the three most important components with your CRM are going to be the name, an email address, and an SMS capable phone number if possible. When you're doing it by name, here's a tip for you. And I'll have a recording of this show later so you can watch it. But the tip is going to be this. Have the first name and last name in separate fields if you're able to do so, not all together. In the future, we'll be talking about how to build forms online where people will come and give you their information because of this wonderful social media post you put on using AI onto Facebook or X or these other platforms. When you get their information and you have a choice between doing a full name or first name separate last name, the first name separate last name is better and this is why. When you start to use AI, and we'll get in all of this, and you're using it to email people, usually it doesn't extract that first name unless it's in its own field. So that's why you want to do that. So if you have a database, if you have something that you have somewhere, maybe it's in your Google Docs or whatever, it's important to start gathering that stuff together now. In the future shows, we'll talk about implementing these in the best way into your CRM, and then we'll really get granular and talk about how to tag everything so the system itself is able to take care of everybody, nurturing, generating, sending out social media posts to the specific people that are in there, depending on how they're tagged and identified. So that's something to consider when you're putting this together. But if I could go back to 1998 and I could get everybody I interacted with and have them in a database, huh, oh my God. But again, what are you going to do? All right, so virtual assistants, appointment scheduling, follow-ups. That brings us into the one of the calendar things, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Calendars are incredibly important. If you don't have a Google My Business page, if you haven't built one out, you need to. You use the business address of Realty One, or if you have a PO box, or if you really want to use your house, I suppose you could. But you want to build that Google My Business page. They're free. It's not going to cost you anything. And the best way to do it would be to ask one of the large language models out there the best way to build a Google My Business page for me, Sarah Smith at Realty One Group Success, located at 216-260 Avenue Stanford, Suite 150 in Valencia, California, 91355. And if it knows some historical information about you, your habits, maybe what you've talked about, and it understands who you are, it might actually add more information to it. But you always want to finish up a prompt asking it to ask you further questions for clarity. And you're talking it this is what it's like. You have a PhD level assistant that's in your phone, that's in your computer, wherever, whichever large language model you use. That's what it is. An actual PhD level assistant. Now, without getting caught up in the, should I deal with it? Should I not? Should I ask it dating questions? Should I, tell it about, the problems I'm having? That's really up to you. Personally, it's all business. I stay away from all that other stuff because I know it's going to give me the best answers to everything. And I know there's no additional depth to it. It's just basically a very intelligent machine, at least for now. We don't have a lot of that interactive element. That's going to happen when it gets that more physical connections. And pretty soon, probably within the next year, we'll have robots galore walking all around us, and it'll be just out of movie. And then we'll get used to that, and then we'll get used to other things. But right now, you can utilize it on the respect of just asking it, basically, how do I build the best Google My Business page? And it will give you all the information to do. And then when you start that, it's probably going to ask you, what your business name is, these sorts of things, but it'll walk you through those steps. Once you get a Google My Business page, then that's where you're going to start basically being seen online by these different systems. Google is still it's still their data. They're still very powerful in it. In fact, their Google Gemini, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be a very powerful large language model. In fact, it might even win this entire race. Let me give you a little bit of idea real quick with regard to winning. The people, the government that gets the super intelligence first will win the whole thing. And I don't know what that looks like. Nobody really knows what that looks like. But I would just suggest that take a deep breath and let's use AI the best to our ability, at least until the next thing that happens. But it's important to be able to understand this. We have chat bots. You see these Instagram, automated Instagram postings, chat bots. These are very simple on websites. You can actually have them AI infused. So it's not the chat bot you might be used to. It's one that'll be programmed to answer questions on your behalf. Just like it's you, they'll use your voice, the way that you speak, and it will interact with a client, and it will interact with the client using AI, getting to whatever goal you have set for it. If it's booking an appointment, it'll get them there. If it's just getting their personal information so they can be put on your CRM so you can have some kind of drip campaign and take care of them, then it will do that. Then you also have the chat bots, and there's different types. There's the ones on the website, like I mentioned, then there's AI voice chat bots. And again, the way that the systems are put together, they go way outside the lines. They're not your normal press one for this, press two for that. They actually interact with the people. This is something that real estate agents can have. Why would you not answer your phone yourself? Well, if somebody, let's say, has some weird swing shift at the police department, for example, and then they're going in there and they get off at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, they get home at 2 and they're searching for real estate and they have a question, you might miss them if you don't have something, i.e., other than yourself answering them or engaging with them. That's where these chat bots come in handy because they are acting like a real human being. Now, we're not trying to mislead or lie to anybody. If they were to ask it, if this is a chatbot or UAI, it would answer in the affirmative. But it does such a good job because it gets their personal information from them, their name, their phone number, and their email address very quickly in the process. And then it's able to save that information for you and then put it into some kind of an automated stream. So then after you talk to them in the morning, if they're not ready, then it will nurture them until they are. Now, market analysis, like I talked about before, we have access to all that data. And with the MLS, and I'll go into this in detail in the future, but this morning I'll give you an example. I pulled 30 days of all the market activity in Saugus, California, single family residents only. And I had to even swing it down to just four-bedroom only. Once I got that data, I had it produce for me full MLS sheets of data. And then I took all of those and I dumped them into ChatGPT and I asked it, what can it give me that buyers in 2025 would find helpful from the data sheets that I've given it from the MLS? So then it pops in and it comes in and it tells me, it gives me all sorts of information for regard to Saugus. So this is what it said at the very beginning. If I can pull it up here real quick. Boom. So it gave me basically the property analysis. So it gave me inventory of 116 active. Okay, we get that. 19 under contract, not bad. 19 pending, 39 sold. Okay, so it knew what to look for. So it pulled that out. Then it gave me the list price pulse, as it called it. 961,000 for the median prices, which equates to $391 a square foot. So that's good data. 46 median. Let me share this with you so you can see it. This is the data that it gave when I plugged it in. And it's got the emojis, it's got all the information in it, and it's got other stuff that I can take away. It also has the hashtags. So this is something that very simply I was able to do just by using the data. The syndication systems, they have their own data stream, but the way that we have access to the MLS, it's already packaged beautifully to be able to use these different LLMs to give us the information that we're looking for. All right. So the next thing, excuse me about that. All right. So now we have setting smart objectives. you're going to want to develop some kind of a schedule, a posting schedule, maybe something that you know that you're going to be doing on a particular day. And you can break this down by day of week. Maybe Mondays is your market update. Maybe Tuesdays is some kind of a foreclosure update. Maybe Wednesdays happens to be single family residence update. Or maybe you can break those down by city. But I would just ask ChatGPT or one of the large language models, hey, I'm a real estate agent here in Santa Clarita Valley. I go by Connor with Honor. I would like you to give me a posting calendar to social media. So give me something, monitor the trends, look online, see where the top ranking social media posts are, and then make me a calendar of social media postings built around that concept. And then it's going to produce where the top ranking social media outlets are or where the top ranking posts are being seen, and then you'll be able to mirror that with your own content utilizing AI. With some of it, just to give you a couple of, we'll get into the Q&A here in just a moment. In the next portion, we're going to be talking about the best ways to put together just the basic prompts to things, just the best ways to do your AI integration into your business. Now, if you don't have the homework is going to be if you don't have a Google My Business page, go get it. And if you have one, go back into ChatGPT and ask it how to make your Google My Business page better. And then take screenshots. Take screenshots around your Google My Business page, the way that it appears online, the way you go to Google and just basically copy that screen, or you can even take a photo with your phone if you don't know how to do it from your computer system. But take a picture of it and then send it into ChatGPT and then ask it, how can I make my Google business profile better? And that one's super important to pay attention to because of all the other sites that are connected to it. You have a lot of the yellow pages sites. I know people don't use those anymore, but it's further emphasis of you being in business. That's why we want to do it. It's not about, you're not going to start getting tons of leads through it, but it's going to basically give you credits or the credentials to show that, yes, I'm a real estate agent. Yes, I have a real live brick and mortar business, not through one of the different brokerages that kind of have virtual offices or they have offices located in other cities here in California. You're actually here in local. That's what that Google business profile is going to do. If you need help with that, you can seek my help at santaclaritaai.com. That's the community you can join. And on there, I'll also have a free offering. I'm putting together offering a CRM if you don't, you're going to use the one at Realty One, something that you'll be able to generate content from. Finally, I'll close with this. Before you take somebody that's selling AI, take their word for it. Make sure that you reach out to somebody else. Ask Patrick. Ask me. Say, is this a good deal? Is this something I should be investing my money into? The price for leads, if you're going to pay for placement, best places to do that would be Facebook. Google's not really great anymore for pay per click. Plus it's really expensive. Facebook, if you're going to pay for it, you have to have the right landing page, the right funnel, basically the right link, the right invitation. But when people go there, you have real names, real emails, and real phone numbers. And you can probably do that anywhere from $4 to $10 per lead. But there's probably a better way for us by just trying to build your social media stream, and you do that the best with AI. We'll do this. We'll do another class here this next coming Monday. I'm going to open it up. If you want to let me know in the chat if you have any questions, as soon as I can find my main screen again, I'm more than happy to answer those questions as well. Any
Connor, can you hear
questions
me?
for anyone?
Connor?
Let's see. You should be able to unmute if you need to. No questions in the chat. Nobody has a question at this time.
Hi, Connor. This is Darlene
Oh,
Alonso. Can you hear me?
absolutely. I sure can. Go ahead, Darlene.
Hi. You mentioned Google page. I have a
Mhm.
Google page I've had for years. I was at a previous company, I have been unable to change the address and therefore actively make changes to my Google page that I've had for years. And I've uploaded the video multiple times, walked through, provided it with everything, and I just keep getting rejected. What would you recommend?
Do you and when you log in there, you're in there as the actual owner, the email address
Yes,
hasn't changed. It's recognizing you.
yes.
On the bottom of the page, there should be the way to escalate this with Google. There should be some way
I
that you can.
Yeah, I've done all that. I've reached out to them. I've escalated it and I just I can't get anywhere.
Do you have reviews on there?
I believe I do because I had a subscription that was feeding directly into that. Yeah.
I'm wondering if they're not allowing it to be changed because you would be now under a different brokerages and a brokerage, and those reviews might not hold anymore. It might be some violation of their terms of service because they reviewed you for you, yes, but under a different brokerage.
Huh. And I'm no
So I'm
longer a member. I'm no longer a paid subscriber to that service. And I believe I actually changed my profile with them as well.
Have you thought about just opening up a new one?
I have, but I have so much in there because I've had it
Okay.
for years.
Let
I mean,
me
I
yeah, let
guess
me hit me up in the in SantaClaritaAI.com
I will. Okay.
and I'll and let me look into it. There might be something. Have you asked let me see here.
And I mean, I guess there's not a whole lot, but it's, yeah.
Let's see what it says here. I know you can do the same, but Google is reporting. Sign into your Google account. You did that. Profile, edit profile. Modify your business name to reflect your new brokerage. Of course, you tried that. So,
Mm.
what's it saying after you do that when you try to put in a new name?
It just says unable. Well, I can't change the address. Um, and it comes back that it's not approving. Oh, I have to go back. I don't recall what it says.
Maybe we can jump on a Zoom this week so you can share your screen with me and I can look at it
Okay.
because I've changed many names. I kept the same one. I've gone back with so I had at Realty One Group Connor MacIvor, then I had Connor MacIvor Realty One. Then I said, you know what, I'm just going to abandon all that, and I put Santa Clarita Open Houses, Connor MacIvor. I forgot what the third thing is, but it may be. Yeah, let's jump on a Zoom this week and I'll look at it. You can share your screen with me and then we
Okay.
can figure it out together. It might be an access issue because getting it verified, that's a whole different animal. But just getting the stuff changed, um, yeah, hit me up at SantaClaritaAI.com and I'll Zoom you and then we can talk about it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Connor.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Anybody else? Just unmute yourselves and go for it. Nobody's got nothing. Okay. All right, very good. So what we'll do, if you do, just jump in, just step on me at any time. What we'll do is this. I'll save this show so you have access to it. I'll post it up on my YouTube channel. In fact, I'll just dump it in SantaClaritaAI.com so you'll be able to see this and look at it. But that Google My Business listing is kind of a big deal. That's something that you want to really grab onto and get if you don't have it yet. In addition, if you haven't started, here's another bit of homework. If you haven't started, before you post anything on social media, go into one of the large language models, whichever one you use, and ask it. I'm kind of weird. I'll go through to three different ones. I go to Gemini, I'll go to Grok, and then I'll go to ChatGPT. Just see who gives me the best. For me, Grok prepares my blog posts beautifully. but I've also trained it. And in the future, we'll talk about building your own agent to do that sort of thing as well. But it'll produce for me a 2,500 character blog post, and it'll be just like I would have written it in my voice. Now, I just don't ask it, hey, make me a blog post. I give it a transcript of the video I do every morning. And if you're not doing that, you might not even have to worry about doing your own face. There's systems out there like Synthesia. You give it a picture and it's going to create a video from you. Now, these get a little bit more pricey, but that price point's coming down just because there's so much competition. That's the difference between these large language models that are in the open source world versus open source. There's a lot of people building all sorts of really cool things that are just being offered free to the public, but that's also the danger. What if somebody builds something super fancy and somebody makes, a human killing virus on it? There's that. All right. Any more questions? Let me know, please. And if you need me in the future, always make sure you join SantaClaritaAI.com. There, that's my community. I'll post this video up. I put other helpful tips. I post almost every day on that particular platform, and you'll be able to get more about AI. Next Monday, we'll cover some more actionable steps you can take using AI. If nobody has any questions, I'll bid you all a great day. I'll give it a few more minutes here before we cancel. Very good. I appreciate everybody tuning in today, and we will see you in the next show. Thanks again. I'm Connor with Honor. Over and out.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.